This lesson on academic study skills is about academic style. We'll begin with the introduction. Then, we move on to introduce key principles of academic style. Finally, we'll have some quizzes to check out our learning. Now, let's start from the introduction. We'll learn the importance of academic style, what academic style is, and what it means to writing academic style. First, let's look at the importance of academic style. It helps us in two ways. First, it helps us to communicate effectively with the academic community. Second, it helps to show objectivity when we make judgments, claims, or a commentary. So, what is academic style? It's the shift in language use from everyday communication context to the language use of academic context. And the style of expression by the academic language use is usually used to define the intellectual community of the academic disciplines. And the different disciplines have their own distinctive style. Finally, what does it mean to writing academic style? It means to effectively and precisely communicate complex ideas in academic writing in order to meet the demands of English writing for academic purposes. Formal, organized, precise, objective, and appropriate. Now let's move on to learn key principles of academic style. Here are the 5 principles for the language use of academic style. Be concise and specific, be tentative or cautious, use impersonal or objective language, use formal language, and use strong reporting verbs. First, we have to be concise and specific. We can use specific examples to illustrate the main ideas. Use the terminology of the specific academic discipline. Precisely articulate the main ideas and explain the main terms. Or use power words or academic words to clearly and concisely express the ideas. For example, the word nocturnal is more precise than active at night. Second, we have to be tentative. Be tentative means be cautious in making claims or arguments because theories in academic disciplines may be modified. We have to be tentative because of 2 reasons. First, to indicate new and emergent idea or theory, or to indicate highly accepted or well-established idea or theory. To indicate new and emergent idea or theory, we can use suggest that, there's a possibility that, studies may indicate that, it would seem that. And to indicate highly accepted or well-established idea or theory, we can use it is probable, the majority of, there's a tendency for, recent studies confirm. So, as we can see from the sentences, it would seem that is used when indicating new and emergent idea or theory to be tentative. Third, we need to use impersonal or objective language, which means to avoid first-person pronouns for creating objectivity. Thus, the pronoun I can be deleted when making claims. So instead of writing, I think that a research paper should be written with caution, we can write, a research paper should be written with caution, which avoids the first-person pronoun I to be objective. The fourth, we need to use formal language. We need to avoid slangs or informal language. Use complete forms rather than abbreviations or acronyms, and use nominalization when necessary. As we can see from this example, conclude is a verb. Its nominalization is come to a conclusion. We use the noun conclusion instead of the verb conclude. The fifth, when we write in academic style, we use strong reporting verbs to report others' research. Reporting verbs are verbs used to report others' ideas by quoting or paraphrasing. There are 4 major types of reporting verbs, neutral, tentative, strong for agreement, and strong for disagreement. For example, instead of using the verb says, we can use strong reporting verb acknowledges to show that we agree with Green's idea. So, after learning the key principles of academic style, let's move on to the quiz part to check out our learning. First, please choose the appropriate answer. So, use impersonal or objective language means avoid first-person pronouns for creating objectivity. A. Avoid slangs or informal language helps us to be formal, while B. Use specific examples to illustrate the main ideas helps us to be specific and concise. And D. Use phrases such as there's a possibility that and it would seem that helps us to be tentative. Next, please also choose the appropriate answer. So, use tentative language means be cautious when making claims or presenting findings. A. Use nominalization, and B. Use complete forms rather than abbreviations or acronyms help us to be formal, while C. Use the terminology used in the specific academic discipline helps us to be specific and concise. Finally, please rewrite the sentences. So, as we can see in the first sentence, we can use the verb investigate instead of looking to be more formal, concise, and specific. In the second sentence, we use maybe instead of is to be tentative. And in the third sentence, the word this is used instead of my to be impersonal or objective. Finally, in the fourth sentence, we should use the full form did not instead of the contraction didn't to be formal. Now, let's quickly review what we have learned in this lesson about academic style. As what we've learned, here are the 5 principles of academic style. Be concise and specific. Be tentative or cautious. Use impersonal or objective language. Use formal language, and use strong reporting verbs. So when we write, make sure we follow these principles to communicate effectively with the academic community and show objectivity when making judgments, claims, or commentary. Thank you for joining us for the lesson. The lesson is created by the Academic Writing Module Group at CCU and is funded by the Ministry of Education.